All right, you guys. So I haven't done a story time in a long time, but this story is actually going to be a little, I guess, controversial because it was like, um, I don't really know how to describe it, but basically, it's a story time about me being in a physical relationship with an older guy when I was underage. Um, I, I really like struggled on whether or not I wanted to like tell this story only because um I still like I'm not in contact with the guy, but like he follows me on Instagram and whatnot. And instead I haven't talked to him like in years. I want to say since the quote unquote affair. But I don't think that he took advantage of me, and I don't know, maybe I was being naive, but I'm gonna tell you guys the story. So if I haven't already put up a story about it, I probably will put one up later. But at 16, 17, like my mom had kicked me out and I was staying in like home shelters for teenagers. I stayed in the first one for 30 days, and then after that you're supposed to basically go back with your parents, but my mom refused to take me. So then they put me into a different shelter. And that one I stayed for about a year. It's for like 17 and up, and it's basically an independent living program. So basically what it is that they have a home, a two-family home that they own. It's through the Salvation Army, by the way. It was a two-family home that they owned. On the first floor, it was like it's basically an apartment. It had a living room, dining room, kitchen, um, two bedrooms, and to those bedrooms it was two guys to each bedroom. And there was like a little desk area in the front where basically like we would like come in the house, and if we're gonna leave for the week we have to sign out over there and all this other stuff. And then on the second floor it was the exact same layout, but it was for girls, and there was actually an extra two bedrooms upstairs where the workers would work, one office for one worker and another office for another worker. And there was a back hallway that had stairs that led down to the boys' apartment and outside, but they had that one locked, and they would just like store like extra tissues and paper towels and stuff like that in bulk in that back hallway. And I guess because they had it locked because some prior incidents of girls and boys going into each other's apartments through that back stairway. So, um, so how do I start this? Okay, so I was 17, and um, no, I had to be 16. I definitely had to be 16 because I stayed the place for a year. So I was about 16, and um, it was going into the summer where I would have into the winter where I would have turned 17. And I was placed at the home, and there I met some of the morning staff. Now across the street there was another like housing situation, but it was more apartment style, where there were like four apartments, and it's like one or two guys to each apartment, and they got a whole like apartment to themselves. Like their apartment had a door that would lock, whereas ours was like a two family house and it was kind of like open. So at the house, what I was told is that this was an independent living program, and that what they expected of us is to either be in school or be trying to get into school, as far as like high school or college or some type of equivalency program, or have a job or be looking for a job. And if you needed help with that, they had morning staff that would help you look for a job or go to school or fill out paperwork to go to school. Sorry about that. Put my phone on mute. So I go in there. I'm kind of shy because I don't know what's going on. At the time, I did have a job. Like ever since I was 16, like even before I was 16, I was like 14. I'd always had a job. Even if it was just a summer job, like I always had a job. So at 16, I was working um, at a clothing store, and 16 going on 17. Like I was working there, so I didn't really need help finding a job, and I was in high school. And even while being in high school, I was in a lot of programs like the dance team, the step team. I was in a part of a club called DECA, which was like a young entrepreneurs. It was actually it's pretty prestigious program. It's basically for like young entrepreneurs, and also I was on tennis team, lacrosse, basketball. Like I wasn't not busy. So I really didn't need help from the women during the day, but I did need help to apply to college because I didn't know what I was doing. That's another story for a different time. So I go into the apartment, and one of the first people that I meet is he's like medium height, like brown skin guy, and he looks so good. Like just think about like the guys from like the mid 2000s or the late 2000s, and not the 2010s, but just like the late 2000s. And he was just so cute. He had like so much swag, and I was like, yo, I'm like, do he live here too? They're like, nah, he's a staff member. I'm like, he's staff, like I'm like, he looks good. Like, he looks young. I didn't, how is he staff? And they were like, yeah, he's a staff member. He works across the street at the guy's home, but sometimes he comes over to help out at the guy's home was for like 18 and up. So he was like, they would come, they were like, oh, he would come over and help out. And like the younger home, which is our like two family house that we stayed at. So I was like, okay, I met him. It was nice. He was cool, whatever. So on occasion, like it wasn't uncommon for like people to go over to the other apartment because they did have like an office area and place where you could sit and watch TV and stuff. So like it wasn't uncommon that we would go across there and hang out or whatever. But I guess there was a couple of times that like I would go over there and hang out, and it was like just a little bit of tension, just slightly. And um I've never been a shy person, I guess I can say. Like I've never been like really shy, and I've never been fast in the ass either. Like I'm not one of those like I wasn't one of those like teenagers that was just like fast and like wanting to take advantage of a situation. Like I was kind of shy, but like if it came to like my sexuality, I was kind of confident about that. But I really, at the time, I was going through a lot of like body issues because I had just come out of a situation of being like verbally abused a lot. So I wasn't really too confident about myself. And he was like, I guess you could say he made me feel like there's nothing wrong with me, and I guess I started with that like student teacher crush type thing, but I knew he was older, so I'm just like, nah, that's never gonna happen. So one day, we were in the living room. No, we were in the dining room of the girls' apartment. There was nobody else in the house. I don't know why, but there was nobody else in the house. Well, at least on our floor, there was nobody else there. And he and I were just like chatting about something, and then the conversation got a little bit like sexual, and then there was like some like tension in the air, and it was just like, I know I'm not the only one who get this, like that little tingle that you get down there in your pussy, that little tingle you get in your pussy. As a girl, and it's like, okay, this is going a little like the conversation started going somewhere where it's just like, okay, we're overstepping our bounds just a little bit, and it ended up turning into a situation where like we went into that back hallway that's locked off, and back there, that's when he started kissing me. And I was just like, I was so taken aback because he was like kissing me and touching me, and I was just kind of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But like at the same time, like, oh my god, yeah, oh my god. But like, so I didn't know what to do. It's like my heart was just like beating like a million times a minute, like it was just racing. So So after that, like he was like, "Oh my god, like we shouldn't did that. Like we can get in trouble." And I'm just like, "Yeah, don't worry. Like I'm not gonna say anything to anybody." But like when people say that, like you gotta remember, like this place is for like damaged teenagers, so you never know what they might say. So I felt like he felt that, and he was still kind of nervous about it. So he left out of the hallway like first, and then he left and went downstairs. No, I left out first, and I went into my room and locked and closed the door. Then he left out again, so he could just be like, "Oh, I just went in there to grab some tissues or something," and he locked the door behind him, just to make sure nobody saw us both coming out at the same time. So, um, like as time went on, like he would still be kind of nervous around me, as if like I said anything, and I'm just like I didn't say anything. Like it wasn't that serious to me, but it was just like you know now you writing fucking hearts and stuff inside your notebook, and you're thinking about, oh, like how it would be if we got married, like because girls get kind of clingy like that. But in my head I'm just like, okay, I already know what it is. I have a crush on this guy. He's older. Something happened and it was a mistake, and I just let it go. So a couple more times, like he would come over, or I would go over across the street, and it got to be like, you know, he would touch me, I would touch him, and then it got one time it just got like physical, and it had to be on a weekend because like during the weekend the staff, it would only be like one staff for the day, and then the next staff member wouldn't come in until like 8 o'clock at night. So like he knew that he had like all the time to himself. So the situation, I don't know how long it was, maybe like a month or two before the situation turned physical, and he and I were like literally having full blown sex in the office area of the apartment across the street for like the guys. And like the guys, they wouldn't come in, of course, because the door was locked and they have their own apartments. So it wasn't like we were at risk of getting caught. We probably were, because there's probably cameras in there, but I think the cameras were in the actual office part, not the area where you would sit and watch TV, which is where we were doing that at. And then eventually it got to be where he felt like it was getting like risky to keep doing that. So then like there would be times where like I would I would he drove this nice ass car. So there would be times where like I would sign out for the week, because you had to sign out and say like where you were going and like a number to contact you at. So I would give them like a friend's phone number or something like that, and say I'm staying at a friend's house or whatever for the weekend, and I had to get it approved like a week ahead of time. And then he would like pick me up, and we would go to like a hotel, or he would pick me up and we would go to his house. And actually at his house is where I met his daughter. It was kind of weird. She was young. She was little, like a toddler age, but it was kind of like weird for that situation. Um, but yeah, so this persisted for like months, like even up until like I left slash got kicked out. Um, this whole situation happened that long. It would be times where he would like pick me up. There was actually a time that he picked me up, and we drove to like Pennsylvania just to get like fireworks and stuff. But it was an erotic drive, if I could say that. I guess you guys can use your imaginations. Um, but yeah, but as I said before, I was still very much underage. I felt like I was a lot more mature about the situation, because um, any girl probably in my age that had gone through the things that I had gone through probably would have got really attached to the whole situation and got really attached to the person. But I wasn't really attached. I'm just like, I guess in my head I'm just like, it is what it is. Like, I want to do something, he's here for it, all right, let's do it. Like, that's all I was caring about. And eventually when I left slash got kicked out, um, we would still converse. Like he would still come and scoop me from staying at my grandmother's house and stuff like that. He, just like this time, we didn't have to be so secretive about it. He didn't have to park around the corner. He just parked down outside, and I'd be like, "All right, I'm leaving." So, um, that happened. And okay, so let me just bring this like back around. So remember when I was like there I was in school but I needed help applying for college, and like I was really busy with school stuff, and then after I would get out of school, I would go to the house, change my clothes and go to work, or drop my book bag and go to work. I only had like an hour in between like that time. Um, so I started getting help with applying for colleges and stuff from the night staff. And the night staff person, um, she was amazing. She was the most amazing woman like ever. She even taught me how to drive. She went on her honeymoon with her husband. She literally just got married too. She was really young in her early 20s. She went on her honeymoon, and she was like, you know what? I'm going to leave the car for my mother so that she could teach you how to drive while I'm not here. And her mom did driving lessons with me. Like, she was amazing. Even after I left slash got kicked out, she was doing this for me, and I appreciate her so much. Like, she helped me with everything, getting a copy of my birth certificate, applying for college, everything. Like, I appreciate that woman so much. Even she even got me like jobs under the table, like when I just needed extra money, where she was like, you got money for school? And I'm like, yeah, but they're not really paying me that much. She was like, you know what, at my job there, they need someone to fill in for the day, so you could work under the table and get some money. She would do that a couple of times. She helped me find a temporary place to live when I got back from school vacations. Like I said, tell you, this woman was amazing. But the night staff people, the morning staff people hated her because it was like that wasn't her job. Basically, her job was to be a glorified babysitter at night. But because I was only home at night, like she helped me with everything, and they didn't like it. So when I left slash got kicked out, she, I don't know how she knew, but she was like, "Be honest with me. Did you and such and such, do you know and I'm just like, no, no, because I don't want to get him in trouble, because he technically still works there, and I don't want to. I know she's mandated to like report that, so I don't want to like snitch on him and get him in trouble, so I said no. But I think they must have had some type of idea that that's what was happening, because like after that, like she didn't talk to me again, and I felt so bad about the whole situation, because I'm just like, I would have rather told her than to lose out on a great person, like having a great person like that in my life. But um yeah, I guess the moral to the story is I was mature enough to handle the situation, I think. Even now, it's like, I don't know if maybe he took advantage of my vulnerability and the mind state and condition I was in at the time. But um, I don't recommend it for anybody. I don't recommend it for any young woman to be in a physical or other relationship with like a grown man, basically over 25, over a 30 something year old man. I don't recommend it. And um nothing happened to me, but if it could have something could have happened to me. Like, I could have been messing around with somebody. He could have had a whole wife. He could have been she could have met up with me and smacked the shit out of me or something like that. Like, he could have went to jail. I could have got in trouble. Like, it just could have been a bad situation for everybody involved. So I guess that's the moral to the story. um I'm not gonna say if you like the story, but if you want to hear more stories like this, I guess subscribe, and let me know if you've ever had a situation like this. If you ever stayed at a group home, if you ever had to deal with a bitchy person, if you ever dealt with a grown person, or like willingly, or if like someone took advantage of you, just let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening.